Okay, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, boxing fans. Pow Salud, Powcast Sports. On this video, we're gonna talk about the unfortunate situation of Jayson Vayson. Of course, natalo po siya via TKO kay Oscar Collazo as you're seeing on the video right here, courtesy of Golden Boy Promotion. And sa mga nagtatanong, gusto nilang malaman kung anong dahilan ng corner. And let me tell you right now, we have found out the reason why. And ano pong feeling nyo ngayon after a day? What's next for Jayson Vayson? What's next for Oscar Collazo? At pwede bang niyang makakalaban yung iba pang mga Pilipino na nasa minimum weight din na world champion? Yan po yung pag-uusapan natin ngayon. Wala na akong intro-intro. Okay, let's go ahead and start by asking you guys. Sir, how do you feel right now after a day after the defeat of Jayson Vayson? Anong pakiramdam mo ngayon? All right? Mainit pa ba ulo mo? Pues, ito na, no? Meron na akong information na nakuha, and also si Ryan Songalia, one of the respected journalists, Filipino journalists in the US, have found out the reason why in-stop. And it goes back to what we thought of the reason kung bakit in-stop. Kasi wala namang ibang talagang dahilan. Pero the specific reasoning kung bakit in-stop umano ng corner po ni Jayson Vayson, because as you know, maybe you don't know, no? Jayson Vayson is not fighting in minimum weight division. Galing po siya sa mas mataas na timbang. 108 pound po ang nilalabanan ni Jayson Vayson. So, ang pagkakaintindi po natin ang nakarating sa atin na may nakita daw sila na hindi maganda sa kay Jayson Vayson, which is yung balance at kumbaga nag-alala sila dahil hindi pa nila nakikita yung ganitong pangyayari kay Jayson Vayson in the past. So, yun po yung kanilang dahilan. Whether kayo na po ang bahalang mag-react dyan, but ang gusto ko lang sabihin sa inyo, iba kasi pag nandoon ka sa venue eh. Iba kasi pag ikaw ang corner. Iba po pag ikaw fan. Now, kung ako, of course, I'm an analyst, a commentator, a content creator for this, and overall, I'm a fan. I would have rather see Jayson Vayson take a knee, no? Or siya mismo yung sumuko or i-stop ng referee, which could happen. But that's their decision. Like na sinasabi ko, no, yung opportunity ng ganito, it doesn't come very often. Marami po mga boksingero na gusto makakuha ng world championship. Ito, 3 belts pang nakasalalay. So talagang iba yung paghihinayang ng mga Pilipino dahil kumbaga hindi pa nga kinukuha sa'yo eh. Binitawan mo na. Kumbaga, yun ang pakiramdam nila. And I hear what you feel, but we also gotta respect. Kung si Jayson Vayson, ni-respect niya yung decision ng corner niya, sino ba naman tayo? Okay. But here's what I found out. No? And here's what I found out. I gotta report this as a responsible journalist. It looks like, this has been trending not just in the Philippines. No? It has been trending all throughout the world because of the reason of the stoppage, or the abrupt stoppage. Even Dan Rafael, a respected journalist, says stop that. Then he shouldn't be a boxer. Absolutely putrid and unnecessary stoppage. Even Sean Gibbon chimed in saying Dr. Dan is right 100%. I spoke to Jayson Vayson and he had no problems. And syempre, nakita naman natin dun sa after the fight, no? He was interviewed. He said he was okay. But also, let me just tell you that every boxer or most of the boxers, kahit pa duguan yan, kahit pa sumasakit yung katawan nila, kahit pa, bugbog sila, they always want to fight. Okay? Gusto lagi nila siyempre lalaban kasi fighter nga sila eh. The reason they became a fighter because they want to fight. It doesn't matter. They will fight until, they cannot fight. So, iba yung perspective pag ikaw yung humahawak sa boxer. So, I'm just letting you know of that situation. But again, that goes back to the point. It still doesn't look good for the fans. So, what's next for Jayson Vayson? What did we find out about Jayson Vayson? And a lot of us, or a lot of the boxing expert, was wrong. They were s- underestimating Jason Bison too much, to the point that they gave Jason Bison times 10, although he went down to times 6, underdog. But that was just like given no chance to Jason Bison. But as we saw in the fight, Jason Bison do have a chance. The Filipino had a chance. Even the unofficial scorecard was a draw, coming into round number 5 or 6, if I'm not mistaken, from Chris Mannix. He was able to hurt Oscar Collazo with those body shots that no other opponent of Oscar Collazo have done. So Jason Bison belong in that level. I mean, he might not be able to win, but we know that he can. So what's next for Jason Bison? Jason Bison should continue to box, should fight high level opponent, because he has been doing so, and he can. He fought in Japan and he wins in Japan. For the Filipino fans, we all know when we go to Japan, it's going to be always a tough fight. And this one was a tough fight. Admittedly, it didn't go his favor, but it only validates that he can. What about for Oscar Collazo? Oscar Collazo, of course, uh, congratulations. One more thing, by the way, I want to show you this. I discussed earlier that the unofficial scorecard was a draw for Chris Mannix, but if you look at the official scorecard, which is the scorecard that will have the most important scorecard of all, the official scorecard. It was all 59-54. So this means that all of the judges, Rudy Barragan, Fernando Villarreal, and Zachary Young, all gave the rounds except for one round to Oscar Collazo. In all honesty, when I was doing a live commentary, I actually scored the same thing. It's because every time a Filipino fights, if you're an underdog, I'm trying to be really critical about giving the score to the Filipinos, because I already know that this type of things could happen. That there's a unwritten rule, or basically you don't talk about this, but in the Philippines, I don't know about anywhere else. I'm not implying for anything, but if the round is close, you give it to the promoter's boxer. Yeah, I heard of that multiple times, many times, and that's what I did. So there are some close round that could have been given to Jason Vayson, because he was actually having Oscar Colasso work for it, and he was countering. That could be the reason why Chris Mannix provided or had that score. But for me, I got this score. Even though I'm a Filipino, I wanted the Filipino to win. But again, I got to be honest to myself, and I'm just thinking about, what if I'm the judge there? How am I gonna look at it? So I was right. So maybe the corner of Jason Bison thought that, hey, is not going anywhere anyway. Maybe you should just stop this. Still, that's not what I would do if I was in that situation. So let's talk about Oscar Collazo after the fight, and even before the fight. There was talks already of Oscar Collazo trying to move up to 108 pounds, which is the higher, one step higher than the world minimum weight division. That could be a way, but I would really hope that he would fight the other Filipino fighters. He already fought and defeated Melvin Jerusalem. Maybe a rematch would be good, but I'm also very curious, and I think if he had a hard time with Oscar, with Jason Vayson, I think he would have an even harder time with Pedro Taduran and the style of Pedro Taduran. So my challenge and my hope is Oscar Collazo doesn't move up in weight and fight Pedro Taduran, who has the IBF belt. I think it makes sense, and Filipinos obviously wants to get back at Oscar Collazo. I mean, we like great fighters. Oscar Collazo is a great fighter, and he has represented Puerto Rico very well. But obviously, Filipino fans wanted to get back at him. It's just the way of the sport. And I think, personally, Pedro Taduran may actually beat Oscar Collazo and Melvin Jerusalem with this development after winning. I mean, he has changed a bit. I think also have a chance against Oscar Collazo. So I think those are the two next fight that Oscar Collazo could do. And who knows? If he wins against the Filipino, he may be the Filipino executioner, like what Pacquiao did to Mexican. Oscar Collazo could do to the Filipinos, because Filipinos, we have a lot of great world minimum weight or minimum weight contenders. So hopefully that is what's next. And I heard from my sources that that could be in the works. That really depends on how that negotiation will be made. But I hope Oscar Collazo fight either Pedro Duran. I think Pedro Duran first. Melvin is also my friend. Actually, is more close to me than Pedro, but um, he hasn't fought Pedro Taduran. So I think that's a good story. If he beat Pedro Taduran, then he can try and beat again Melvin Jerusalem. So, but what do you guys think? And I think it's time to move forward. At least we know that Jayson Vayson has what it takes to fight in the world level. Unfortunately, though, he lost. What do you guys think?